welcome back to another SUPboarder wing video. In this video, we're going to be reviewing the new Naish Wing Surfer Mark IV. This one has just been released, but we've been actually using it for a couple of months. We're going to give you the full review of this wing on its own, but we're also going to be comparing it to the Matador LT, which we've been using, and we're going to be referring back to the Wing Surfer S26, which is last year's version of this as well, because we know we're going to get loads of questions about those wings, so we might as well throw them in to this video as well. This being the Mark IV Wing Surfer means there's 3 other previous Wing Surfers before it, and Naish were very much the first brand to bring winging to the masses. They were the first brand to bring out the original Wing Surfer. Where does the Wing Surfer sit compared to the Matador LT in the Naish range? Well, the Wing Surfer is designed for all types of winging and all types of riders, whether you're getting into the sport as a first timer or you're still wanting that fairly high level of performance. So it is very much a one wing that does it all: surf riding, freestyle riding, blasting around. So what's changed for this Mark IV Wing Surfer? First off, there's a lot more sizes available now. Right from a 2.5 all the way up to a 7.5 meter wing. Now, we've never actually used any of these really big wings, so if you've got any feedback on these big old wings, please let us know from Naish and of course from other brands as well. We've always found personally we've had enough power from the 5.5 and 6 meter size wings to really get us out in the lighter wind conditions. But if you are a heavier rider, you're wanting that more power, wanting to get out in those lighter winds, that big wing there is now going to get you on the water and get you up and riding in even lighter winds. Other big standout features you'll notice: the windows have been rounded off. They're a little bit smaller than last year's wing. That's going to do a couple of things. It's going to make the wing lighter. It's also going to give you a little bit more response, because the window PVC material, or whatever material that any brand puts in their wing, is going to stretch differently to the other ripstop nylon material. So the bigger your window, the softer and the more stretchy, but the less power you're going to get out of your wing. By reducing that window size like Naish have done now, they're giving you a bit more response, a bit more top end performance. But they still have the window, so if you're getting into definitely flying your wing in a busy area with lots of other wingers or boat users, having these windows is a massive bonus and a top safety feature. Also, straight away on the back trailing edge, you'll see that these mini Leech Battens. The Leech is the back end of a sail or wing, so the trailing edge. And a Leech Batten is there to give the wing a little bit of stiffness, so when you're parking the wing or you're letting the wing fly by holding the front handle, just letting the wind just go under the wing, the Leech Battens will stop the wing from flapping and banging around and making a lot of noise. And also when you're maybe pulling in the wing and you're not fully loaded up, the Leech Battens there will give you a little bit of stiffness just to give you a bit more performance. The disadvantage to adding a Leech Batten in any sort of wing is you're going to add a little bit more weight. That's why some brands do it and some brands don't. The outline shape of the Mark IV is very much the same, if not the same, we would say, as last year's Wing Surfer. Naish say that the front tube is a little bit bigger. The bigger your front tube is, the stiffer it will feel, and also the less pressure you'll have to put into the wing to get the same stiffness. But you can still put 7 to 9 psi of pressure into this wing, and Naish say that's because of the high tensile threads that are used to put all of the wing together. So it is a very stiff wing with a big leading edge, and it takes a high pressure. Before we move on to the handles and the central area of the wing, keeping a look at the top edge and the reinforcing that's around the wing, you will notice that there's less reinforcing on the main leading edge compared to last year's Wing Surfer. That had reinforcing on every seam join. This new Mark IV has just got the reinforcing down the side edges of the wing, which to be honest is where you really want it. So they've reduced a little bit of weight there by taking it off the leading edge, but they have a good amount of reinforcing around the sides and the back edges of the wingtips. The actual panel layout of how they put the wing together is very similar to last year's Wing Surfer. The handles are way chunkier and bigger and longer, and there's less of them, but they take up the same amount of area. So you can move your hand around, making more micro adjustments to feel that you're in the right place, which I really do like, because having the handles and lots of them was great in one way and you felt very secure, but if you wanted to ride in between 2 handles, you had to sort of do some sort of funny thing with your fingers. This, you've got more chance of finding the handle, tuning the handle in the correct place. You've got harness lines attachments, and also the actual way that they've put these handles on, the webbing that comes around the main part of the rib does look really chunky and really heavy duty, and it does look like they've souped up a lot of this section of the wing to take a lot more jumps and impacts, which is definitely, if you watch the latest Naish video, they are boosting some bigger jumps with this wing than any other wing we've seen. We'll speak about the performance and jumping in a minute. As far as inflating the wing and getting on the water, the big bonus about all the Naish wings is they take standard inflatable paddleboard pumps. A lot of you are getting into winging and have got stand-up paddleboards, which is why we do these videos, and you can use a standard inflatable paddleboard pump. They call it a shore lock system, but it is a standard ISUP pump. It's a one valve inflation system, so you pump it up here and it pumps the main rib up as well with an interlinking tube. This tube is actually a slightly different shape to last year's wing and making it a little bit easier to pump up as well. And the other big change, which is a really big bonus compared to the smaller size Matador LTs, is it's got a dump valve on that main tube as well, which means you can deflate these wings way quicker than wings that have got one inflation hole but no dump valve on that main rib. That was one of the negatives on the last Matador LT review when we reviewed the 5 meter. Some of you will notice that they removed the Y strut handles this year. Last year, you could get handles that went from sort of this position across to this position. Some of you were using it maybe for going upwind, and I've heard a few of you finding them useful. Personally, we've never ever used them on any wings, and we always thought they were nice to have if you use them, but I can see why Naish have dropped them this year on all of their wings. It's going to bring a lot of weight down. It's going to bring potentially more wear areas where you can get warranty issues. So reducing that, getting that off is going to be a wise move. So there are no Y strut handles this year on the new Mark IV. So as standard with the package, you get your sort of stuff sack, long bag with a simple shoulder strap. It has a pump carrying pouch sort of thing here, which is pretty neat actually. You can put your pump handles in. It's got drainage holes. It's a nice lightweight bag. It's nothing that, well, you would be carrying it miles and miles and miles because the wing doesn't weigh anything, but it's not as super padded as some other brands on the market. As standard with the bag, you also get a coiled leash, which is very similar to other leashes that Naish have already produced. It's a nicely made leash, but I'll speak a bit more about that. You do not get a pump as standard with your package. So if you're after a pump, if you're coming from a surfing background and you haven't got an inflatable paddleboard already, you're going to have to buy an inflatable paddleboard pump, or you can buy Naish's kite wing pump as well, but that is an extra. So let's get this bad boy on the water and tell you what it's like to ride compared to the Naish Matador LT and the last year's Wing Surfer. So this is Naish's all-round wing, and yes, it does do all types of riding very, very well. So if you want to be getting into flat water, you want to be getting into wave jumping, wave riding, surfing, downwind riding with your wing, freestyle, going fast, jumping high, all of those disciplines, this Wing Surfer is a really good balanced wing that works well. The power and the grunt and the low end power isn't as much as something like the Matador LT. If you compare the two, which we very much did back to back, the LT is a lighter, crisper, more powerful wing than this Mark IV. How powerful is it compared to last year's Wing Surfer? Possibly a little bit more powerful, but it has been a year since we've used that last year's Wing Surfer. But definitely every Wing Surfer from the previous original one back in the day, they've got more powerful, and they've also got more stability when you're flying them. That is where this wing has an incredible amount of stability. It's very good at handling gusts, it's very good at handling light winds, and it's very good at handling too much wind. Having the nice, thick, solid handles give you a good amount to control the wing. Having nice, long handles, as I said before, really allows you to make more micro adjustments easily to find yourself riding in the right spot. And having that stiff front edge and having the ability to put 9 psi of pressure in the wing does allow you to pump and put a lot of power into the wing and have a very punchy, direct feel, but not as much as the Matador LT, remember. definitely one of the real standouts for me with this new Mark IV is the way it jibes, the way it transitions through the air. It's very easy to do that. I think this year's one is a little bit easier because of the handles are a little bit stiffer. You start moving your wrist and the wing just follows you because you have got that direct feel in the handle. But the Wing Surfer's always been nice to jibe, but this one is even nicer again. So if you're that beginner trying to get into your transitions, you're not going to have to worry about using the jibing with the wing. You can really worry about your footwork and your balance more, which is really what you want to be worrying about. Naish do say that this is a very fast wing to ride. Personally, we haven't really got into speed winging yet. It's a sort of newer discipline that's starting up, but definitely this wing does feel very locked in and very secure, and you could power it up and go much quicker. But if you're into that, you're going to be looking at smaller, more high aspect ratio foils, going out in more powered up conditions, and most of you aren't looking at that at the moment, but definitely this wing would do it more than the other wings from Naish on the market. We've been using this wing alongside the Matador LT for well over 2 months now, and there is some definite pros and cons to both of those wings. The really big pro, I have to say, is if you are wanting to do jumps and bust airs with a wing, this is the wing you want. Unfortunately, we haven't got very many video clips of us busting airs, but we've got a few photo shots, and it seems to be the hang time you get with this wing, even in the lighter winds, seems to be incredible. And when you're actually in the air, the stability of the wing feels unlike anything we've ever used from any other wing brands so far. Is that to do with the handles, the stiffness of the front leading edge? Probably, but the way that Naish have actually done the paneling and the actual shape of the wing, it is incredibly stable in the air. So if you're after a jumping wing, hence why you see Naish going hard on their newest action video, this is the wing that's going to do that. You are going to be able to bust some big airs. But at the same time, if you're not after that super high flying performance out of a wing, you're still going to be able to use this as a beginner, as a first timer. I said we've got the window there, you've still got the stability, it's still nice and easy to use, and it's still fairly light to use in your hands as well. If you want to park the wing and hold the wing with the front leading edge handle, nice big chunky solid handle, neoprene inside the handle so you can't get any chafing around your knuckles. You'll be happy to hold that all day long if you're doing some big downwinders, if you're doing a lot of surf riding. If I had to summarise who should buy what wing, looking at the Naish Matador LT, the new Mark IV Wing Surfer and the previous year's Wing Surfer, if you want a powerful wing for its size and you're really after performance more than anything else, I would look at the Matador LT. But bringing in the new Mark IV, it's available in way more sizes. So you could still look at this if you're a heavier rider compared to the previous Wing Surfer. I think these two are very similar. This one is just a better performing wing. It's more stable in the air, it gives you a little bit more power, and it just feels more crisp when you're riding it. So if you find any bargain last year's Wing Surfers, they're still worth getting online. The new Mark IV is an improvement that a lot of you are going to be liking, but if you are a heavier rider that wants that more performance but not a massive wing, the Matador LT is still the wing to go for. Value for money for the wings, well, this 5 meter is retailing around $970 US, about 899 euros, and about just over 800 pounds. So it is up there at its price point, and I know a lot of you are going to be comparing this wing to another wing that we reviewed from another brand, which is definitely cheaper. The only thing I will say about that wing compared to this one, not saying any names, is this wing definitely has that upper level of performance. This wing definitely has more for you to grow into, and if you are looking to really improve your wing surfing into the future and it's not just a fad for you, then buying into a main brand like Naish and this new Mark IV Wing Surfer is going to be well worth the money. And looking at cons and negatives, let's leave this till last, because I know you guys all know out there, if you've watched any of the previous videos from Naish on our wings, you know what I'm gonna say. It's still only the negative is the leash for me. The coiled leash is the nemesis. Maybe it's just me, a personal thing, but I find these things an absolute pain. They get tied in a knot, they get stretched in the surf, you have to heat them up to go back to shape. It's just a pain to use. I really prefer a more corded sort of Dyneema leash. But again, maybe I'm just the one going crazy, but that's the only negative to me, is the coiled leash. Apart from that, you get a very complete wing that does do it all very well, and it's definitely going to get a lot of you into winging and performing at a higher level this year. I really hope you found this review interesting and informative, and it helps you understand which wing from Naish is right for you. Any questions and comments, if you've used it, if you've got one of these wings already, please let us know. Get your full review on the SUPboarder site so we can help feed back any information, pros and cons to the brand, so they can improve it into the future. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do. There's tons of videos that go out weekly. And if you haven't checked out our subscription service on SUPboarder Pro, definitely check out that for the next level of content. Thank you very much, and we'll see you on another video real soon. It was all right. Pretty good. I like the handles. Handles feel nice.